Hi, my name is Eleana Collins, and I'm an associate at Warschawski. Today we're going to talk about tips on how to be successful in PR. So if you're just starting out in the PR workforce, you're interning, or you have a new job, we're going to talk about 4 tips on how to be successful in PR today. Our first tip is that if you are working in PR, it's important to think outside of PR and get a good understanding of different types of marketing functions. Today, PR is most powerful when used in conjunction with different types of marketing tactics, and your marketing approach today should be integrated, so it's important to understand how they all work together. So our second tip is that when it comes to media relations, it's really helpful to think like a journalist. Always know what you can offer them and what's going to be interesting to them, so that means you have to do your research. Also understand why a story is newsworthy and timely, and know why they should cover it and why they should cover it now. You should also envision how the story is going to turn out in the media outlet that you're pitching. It's really helpful to also have different angles that you can talk to the journalist about, because that's going to help you think on your feet when you're talking to them. So our third tip is that it's really important to keep up with all different types of news. You want to know what's popular and interesting and trending in media, so make sure to read all different types of media outlets. If you're not as familiar with your client's industry, it's also really important to read all the magazines and blogs that are out there so that you know what journalists are covering in their industry. You also want to keep up with what's going on in the marketing industry, so you have a good sense of different tactics that are out there. You can see overall strategies that are being implemented, and it also adds to your development as a marketing professional. And finally, you also want to keep up with what your contact at a media outlet is covering so that you know what's interesting to them specifically, whether that means reading all their articles or following them on social media. So our fourth and final tip is that it's always a good idea to think strategically about everything that you're doing. Even if you're not the one ultimately executing or managing a campaign, make sure that you understand what the ultimate goal is. Ask questions, get clarity, and understand what the ultimate goal is for the client. And make sure that you don't approach everything with a cookie-cutter approach. Even if you're just writing a press release and putting together a report, you always want to understand what the bigger picture is and how what you're doing is going to affect that ultimate goal. That being said, this is going to help you communicate strategically and effectively with clients, media, or your coworkers. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope the 4 tips help you become more successful in PR.